Pardon? Oh, so we're not using that. Okay. Oh, but they get like that. They, okay. All right, everybody, it is 7 o'clock. So welcome to the September 2024 Lake George School Board meeting. We are all in attendance except we have one board member who couldn't be here tonight, Donna Prime. So we would like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands God, that's strong. Serious?
That's a volunteer.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like. Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the elementary update with the principal, Mr. Jim Conway.
Okay, so great start to the school year. And I just want to point out that the kindergarten and the pre-K kids are off to a wonderful start. So that first day by 8 o'clock, they were all actively engaged in the classrooms. We had one kindergarten crier, one pre-K crier. They stopped in about 5 minutes. So that was it. Couple parents too. Thank you, Marianne and Katie, for your words at our opening. Look forward to that. So thank you for that. I know district-wide, when we think about our transportation department, our buildings and grounds, and our cafeterias, our kitchen staff, Andy, Jeff, Kevin, tremendous job. They really have done great things, allowing us to open school for our kids. So I really just want to thank them publicly for all the work that they've done and their staffs have done. Let's get acquainted night, Thursday this week, 6 to 8 o'clock. If you have interest or are able to be there, we are doing at 6 o'clock. Our reading teachers are presenting a Title I program and informational session. We get federal funding through Title I. And one of the things that we do is we present to families. We have to communicate with families regularly. So we're going to provide an opportunity at Let's Get Acquainted this year. We've done that in past years. We haven't in a couple. We've done other things, but there'll be a presentation at 6 o'clock in the little theater. At 6:30, we have our specialists in the gym. So if you picture the elementary school gym full of tables, allowing parents to walk through and meet all of our special area teachers, art, music, PE, speech, etc. They'll have an opportunity to learn about the curriculum from those folks and pick up information. Presentations in the classroom at 7 to 7:30 pre-K through 2 and 7:30 to 8 3rd through 6th grade. Also want to mention the Fall Festival, September 27th. Are you in the dunk booth this year, Mr. Kokoza? John is. Mr. Luthringer will be in there. So looking forward to that event. And also want to thank Marianne, Katie, and John for always attending those PTSO meetings. Fran noted that last night. That does not happen everywhere, that we have board members and the superintendent who regularly attend and participate in those meetings. And it means a lot to us having you at those meetings and just being a part of all that goes on. The PTSO is doing really good work for our students, but thank you for being there. Curriculum. So as we shared, we have preliminary results. We're proud of our results in ELA and math and science. And I think that's a credit to the work that our staff is doing and the curriculum that we have in place. And I did want to note, while last year we worked really hard at the elementary level with our math curriculum, and as you saw, we got good results, which seems to make sense. We spent a lot of time there. This year, we're working hard to enhance our K-2 literacy program. So we're in our 6th year utilizing Foundations to teach phonics at the kindergarten level. Last year, we spent the year reviewing what we were going to do, and we are moving to Foundations at K2 and also enhancing our phonemic awareness with a program called Hegarty. So those are things that are going to continue to help us grow our readers. We're excited about and you had a chance to see the growth that we have with our children, and the data that we had from last year shows that our kids do have a strong phonics background, but we believe this will continue to enhance those skills for our students. Last thing I want to share is elementary school goals. As you know, every year our educational cabinet, our shared decision-making body, sets goals, one-year targets. We look at our survey data for our students, our parents, or from our students, our parents, and our staff, as well as all of that data that we looked at tonight before this meeting. With that, we developed a leadership goal, an academic goal, culture, that I'll explain. Then academically, we are focused on 1 year of growth, 1 year of growth in reading for all of our students. So that's pretty lofty when you looked at the data we just shared. We are working really hard this year to ensure that all students that we're providing whatever is needed to get to 1 year's growth. It is extremely, extremely lofty. We're going to do our best to get all of our students there. Chronic absenteeism, we're getting that rate under 5% this year. We know that that's going to lead to more student success. Culture that I mentioned, we're working hard to develop those trusting relationships, and this is from a student's perspective. So the survey data that we have, we want those percentages of students that feel that strong connection at school. They have a good connection. We want that to be improved. That's something that we're focusing on. The other academic goal is students' understanding of the goal setting process, so that, and we're connecting it to reading this year, that they understand that in order for me to grow as a reader, there are certain things that I have to do. They know what their end in mind is. They know where they want to get as a reader, that they develop a plan. They take the steps in that plan to get there, and they're sharing how they're doing or progressing with a partner, basically an accountability partner. It's unbelievable. We're going to be asking our first and second grade kids to do that. And then finally, that leadership goal, community and family engagement, really not just limited to special events that we hold at school, but other ways that we're involving the community in our curriculum. To do that, I'm almost done, Mr. C. 5 action teams: an attendance team, self-explanatory; an academic team, which is really going to oversee students' involvement in that academic goal setting related to their 1 year's growth in reading; leadership environment, taking a look at our school campus. How are we celebrating and recognizing students as leaders on the campus, in the building, and also that leadership assembly that you will be invited to at the end of the year. Our math night and social studies nights, looking at them very differently, where students may be involved in setting goals connected to those events and then involving the community. So that's a lot. But we have teams that are in place that are going to get started with that work this month. That's all I've got.
Right. Jim, it's so exciting to hear when you talk about goal setting and connecting it with readings, so something very specific, but how that is working on a life skill. It's like we have these ideas of what we want to achieve, this goal, but you're giving them the how, teaching them the how to lay out the pathway. And how cool is that? That it's something specific to reading, and you're weaving in a life skill with that. So that's awesome.
Keep you posted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to off that same thing, just again, it's like this culture of openness and having accountability partners and making a plan. I just love the idea that I think sometimes when kids are, not as strong in a certain area, or they know, they identify, what needs to happen to not like, everybody's got something to be working on, and we're partnering instead of, being isolated in that experience. And I just think it's really healthy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the secondary update with Mr. Frank Koza, our secondary principal.
So I thought I'd review 7 years worth of Regions data with you. All right, really quickly, our forum, just like Cabin, is in the developmental stages of our building level goals. We just met today. So we're about 2 to 3 weeks before we can present the goals for this coming academic year for our shared decision-making body. So the process that we utilize to develop those goals, in the room we were just in on the whiteboard, we kind of brainstorm all of the areas that folks feel the high school should focus on They're going to bring that initial brainstorm to their constituents that they represent, and also hear from their constituents what they feel the high school should focus on with goals. At our next forum meeting, we will go through those two lists and prioritize where we think our focus should be and set our goals. So next board meeting, hopefully I'll be presenting to you what our shared decision-making body at the high school will focus on this year. Couple other very quick things. A great start to the year. We want to thank our students, parents, and staff for a wonderful start. Despite the chaos of car show and opening a school during what appeared to feel like a much different car show than previous years. I want to thank Mario, especially for Friday night, helping me park a lot of cars. Along with Friday night and Saturday, our classes raised about $8,000 towards prom. So we parked cars in the lower lot, the side lot, and the bus garage. We made $4,000 Friday night with Mario helping me, and then Saturday day with a couple staff helping me, and students and staff. That money goes towards the prom. Yeah. We divided among the classes, and people are very, very supportive. People are very supportive once they find out what they're paying for. This Friday, the Lake George Alumni Association is having its annual reception at Mezzalunas. It's open to everyone, so we encourage you to stop by between 5 to 9, free of charge, to hang out with some awesome people. Saturday, the class of 1974 of Lake George High School has their 50th reunion. If you want a tour of the high school, stop by 3 o'clock to get to meet the class of 74 and see the building. And then finally today, the DRI is continuing to move forward, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative for the Lake George Village and Town. We had a workshop today in which we heard from all of the proposals of the different projects. And the public will be invited to a workshop on Wednesday, the 25th here. We're going to host another public workshop. So again, that date is Wednesday, the 25th at 6 o'clock, in which the public can come and hear from the project proposals, the folks who are putting forward those proposals, what they're proposing. Shortly after that, the DRI will make a decision what projects get funded as part of the slate of proposals that will go back to the state of New York. And then ultimately the state will decide who gets the money and who doesn't.
Is that here in the library or where?
Right here in the library. They asked if we could host again, and we said definitely.
Thank you for that partnership. And when you mentioned tour, it reminded me that some building tours happened as part of our onboarding process for our new board member, Jeff, and some other folks. Anybody could accompany them, any of the other board members. And one of the things that struck me as I was on one of the tours was the really creative repurposing of space. As we're having declining enrollment, we're enhancing our learning environments by changing them up. And that really impressed me a lot to see how those shifts are being made and how we're using our spaces to benefit the kids. And I love seeing the pre-K room. It made me want to get in there and play with kids.
We've become experts in repurposing spaces. So that's good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the superintendent's report with Mr. John Luthringer, our
Thank you,
superintendent.
Katie. As you mentioned, the tours here, we're going to let our pre-K program get their sea legs a little bit more, and then we'll certainly invite the Board of Education in to see pre-K in action. It has been amazing transition in just a few short days. And it's exciting to welcome the inaugural class of 2038. So 2038, those kiddos are graduating. So it's pretty exciting. It's exciting. So 2038, and then the class of 2024 was their first day of school. So it was really nice to kind of see the bookend. I'm sorry, class of 2025, the bookends of our school. And it was great to see all of our kids participate in different assemblies and welcome back, and time spent on building relationships and focusing on goal setting and all sorts of different things that both buildings had going on. And we did welcome back just about 600 students back pre-K through 12th grade. And it was just a highly successful opening. And we really hit the ground running this week. It's every year I'm here, I'm always so impressed with how quickly we get back, and we're right back in the swing of things. And it's exciting. And it's not by chance. It's because we have tremendous leaders. And I want to thank our administrative team here and our building principals and our directors for all the work that goes into summer planning. We have 44 days from when graduation happened to when we open, and those 44 days go by in a blink. And there's so much work that I could go on and on and on of lists of things that happened during the summer. And then when we turn the corner and start getting into August, our teachers are active. They're here. They're working on curriculum. They are excited to be getting back into the start of the school year and are very prepared for September. So I want to thank our teachers. I want to thank our building and grounds for all the updates and grounds work they've done. Transportation department's been outstanding, and Bonnie's leadership in that department has been really essential in some of the work that we've done. So we did a lot of rerouting. As we kind of get smaller, we're looking at ways that we can be more efficient. I want to thank our parents as well for the partnership that we've had in some of our new routes that we've developed and some of our collective pickup points and drop-off points. It's gone exceedingly well. We've ironed out a couple little kinks as we do every start of the school year, but so far it has gone exceedingly well in some of the changes we made. And we're excited about that. Our support staff, our office staff, our technology staff, our nurses, everybody that goes into helping sure we're prepared. And we just had a really great opening again. So I want to thank really our district and of course the leadership of our Board of Education for the work and allowing us to do what we do each and every year. I have a couple updates here. So first one is, as the board knows, we're having a transition going on with our school resource officer, especially in the high school. So I just want to provide a little bit of update, and I certainly want to also thank the Warren County Sheriff Department for their partnership in supporting us during Car Show. It was pretty intense, especially on Friday with the amount of traffic and visitors to the region. So they were really essential in providing us support and getting our buses off Mountain Drive and getting out to get our students home. In addition, just being visible around campus during that time. But we are closing in on hopefully starting next week, filling a vacancy in our school resource officer position, especially at the junior senior high school. We're fortunate to still have the services of Officer Rob LeBaron, who's been assisting us in both buildings in this interim. And we've gone through an interview process with Lieutenant Rob Smith and Mr. Koza and I, and we're excited to be bringing on board 2 new individuals. They'll be splitting the position, so it'll be a little bit different than having one person every single day. So they are 2 retired New York State troopers, fairly recently retired. And both of them will be working. So 2 days, 3 days, we're going to be working on a schedule. So they will be here full time, 5 days a week. They'll be assisting with evening events. And we're looking forward to onboarding them. Mr. Koza took them on a tour today. Mr. LeBaron was there as well, and we're excited for that. So we're looking forward to that. Warren County Sheriffs have been an essential partner in this process, and we will be hopefully having them here. They've got to do some additional training. They will be here next week, we're hoping. So the last thing I wanted to mention also is this is sort of a hot off the press one as well, as a Senate bill that was passed through legislation at the end of the legislative cycle last year was signed by the governor just a day or 2 ago. And that is that there's a New York law now that requires students as ex officio members of school boards. So this is exciting. It's an exciting opportunity to continue to elevate student voices. It aligns nicely with one of the board goals that I know that will be up for discussion and adoption later today. And it's an opportunity for us to bring a student board member to the Board of Education. There's still some things that we need to learn about this, but and how that will happen. One of the things that I wanted to recommend as we start to move forward here is that, as Mr. Kokoza mentioned, the importance of having stakeholder involvement in that and listening to our constituents of our building and ways in which that student might come to the board and be selected. So there's 6 ways that students can be selected. So one of the thoughts that we had that we'd like to recommend is that forum, the shared decision-making body, which includes parents, students, teachers, administrators, take a look at that and provide some recommendations to the board. So that's one thing that we've talked about. We'll talk more about that through some presentations to the Board of Education. Certainly, we would want the board's input as well, and how do we bring this to life at the district? So one thought we had is that's perhaps a good way to start, to get some recommendations from our stakeholders on that shared decision-making body, especially our students, in ways in which they would want to be supportive of this new law. So we anticipate doing a presentation in October and sharing information about the regulation, the steps in that, perhaps in a timeline that could be put forth here at the district. But again, it's an opportunity to certainly listen to student perspective, and that's always so important here. And we're excited about this. So it's an opportunity for us to work together and have a student who perhaps will be sitting right here at our table in the coming few months. So again, excited for the start of the school year. We're really excited for the rest of the year and all the certain goals that we've got developed. So that's it for me.
Thanks, John. Quick question. When you said there's 6 pathways, is that by state guidance?
Yeah, the state law specifies that there are specific criteria that a student has to, or for a student to be selected. For example, one of the criteria is that it has to be grades 9 through 12. It has to be a student in grades 9 through 12. They have to be enrolled in the school district for up to at least a year. So it can't necessarily be a brand new student to the district. And then there are 6 different ways that a student member can be selected to the Board of Education as a student member of the board. So we'd be happy to share more about those as we
Yeah,
get
no, I
more
was just
details,
curious
but
with
there's
that
6 of them.
if that was
Yeah, it's right in the
guidance.
law.
So there's guidance that will be coming for how to from the
Yes.
state.
Yeah, New York State School Boards, I know, will be releasing an FAQ document in the coming weeks and months. In addition to that, we've got some guidance from our school attorneys as well on the law. I have a lot of that coming to you in Thursday Themes already, so you can start to read that. And then certainly that's items that we'll be discussing as a district about which one of these pathways best suits the school.
Thank you, John.
The social media on the first day with all the teachers together at the Elm School.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember
Yeah.
who does that, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. So we had I'm just glad you mentioned that, Mario. We had 2 days of wonderful staff development. And our opening day assembly, we took time to focus on relationship building and getting to know each other. We have new staff members as we do every year. So we were able to take time, and it was through the leadership of our PE department who helped facilitate a lot of the different stations and activities and games. And we spent a good 30 minutes or so doing some fun activities. It was great to have some of our board members there, and I know there was a lot of great participation, but that was done through our communication specialists.
Yeah, it was great. And I appreciate the school staying committed to a full-time SRO. We get these bulletins from NYSBA or these emails, and we read what other schools are doing. And when I saw that he was leaving, I was thrilled to hear that you guys were like, all right, we're going to come up with a plan, and the plan's going to be that we're going to stick with what we have. And instead of, trying to allocate that money for something else, I'm thrilled that's happening. John, is there a process to evaluate the opening events, whether it's the professional development or the first day of school, to see what works, what didn't work, what you might need to tweak or incorporate for the next year?
I don't know if it's an assessment per se, but I think one of the things all of us do, is we talk to our teachers and staff about what did you think, how'd it go? What were your thoughts on opening day? I know that in the individuals that I talked to, they were really excited about it. There was really good vibe and energy in the room. And it's certainly something that I know the building principals, they have their agendas and goals and plans, and that's a collaborative process. There's certain things that we've got to do. We have to do specific trainings and things like that, but we always try to balance that with knowing that our teachers and staff need time to prepare. So it's a balance, but I think one of the things that we do to assess that is talk to our people.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Next item on the agenda is the Audit and Finance Committee report with the chair of that committee, Mario Fasula.
Thanks, Katie. So we reviewed the treasurer's report for June. 2024. The June state aid and BOCES aid, we received it. Any adjustments for the remaining 23-24 school year will get in August or September once BOCES and the state reconciles all their books. We also reviewed the claim auditors report. Payroll in June was a little bit higher than normal because of stipend payments and end of year balloon payments. The end of year balloon payments are those payments to salaried employees, 10-month employees who elect to spread their salaries over 26 pay periods as opposed to 21 pay periods. We also reviewed the Audit and Finance Committee Charter, which we reviewed yearly. There was really nothing there to update that was required. There was also a review of Tetra Tech's proposal for architectural services for the 24-25 capital outlay. We recommend moving this forward for the Board of Ed. This is a review and approval that all capital outlay projects are required to have, regardless of the job scope per the state of New York. We also reviewed the SCAR petition, which is Small Claims Assessment Review. So that is essentially property owners that are going back to the towns and they want a different assessment, and they put in a petition. There was a significant increase in petitions this year because the assessments in both Fort Anne and Queensbury were much higher than they were expecting. We discussed the importance of the tax sartorial reserve because of this situation. Our auditor, Scott, advised us and approved leaving the tax sartorial reserve funded at its current level, which is a little bit higher than where it should be, but that's also because of the small claims assessment review, the amount of petitions that were put in those two towns. And our legal counsel also advised us, our legal counsel will be advising the district, and he'll be representing us in the Article 7 petitions as they occur. We made sure that there was enough money in this fund to cover the school liability if these petitions do get awarded back to the property owners. We also reserved the plan and fund balance allocations, annual transactions, interest earned, and also fund constraints on allowable limits we talked about. Any additional money in excess of 4% of the appropriate balance is to be replaced in reserve. All reserve funds receive interest during the year. The transactions that we summarize in the reserve plan include any money that was expended from the reserve during the fiscal year, interest and money deposited into the reserve. The goal of this year's reserve plan allocations was to replace money that was expended and rebuild the reserves that were previously depleted, which can help offset future budgetary constraints and continue to fund the capital reserve that we have, and to partially fund the transportation facility and maintain a tax neutral capital project. We reviewed the reserves that had significant transactions, both expenses and deposits for the year ending 2024. The EBLAR, the Employee Benefit Accrued Liability Reserve, the Employee Retirement System, and the Teacher Retirement System, and the Capital Reserve 2. Those we're leaving a little bit higher than required right now because of what is outstanding in terms of teachers, vacation time, benefit time, all that they can cash out at any time. And that's all that we reviewed.
Thank you, Mario. Any questions?
Mario, just quick, Capital Reserve 2, what is that for?
That one is for the, I want to say the,
For the,
I want to say
it was
Transportation.
voted by the several years ago. Voted in for 10 months. Not all 10 million there.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Policy Committee report. Marianne McKenzie, the chair of that committee, will give that report.
Okay, well, the policy committee met for the first time this school year, just yesterday, and we worked through multiple policies. 5 of them are moving forward to first read this evening. One's being recommended to retire, and several others were discussed. We got through a lot. The minutes from our meeting yesterday were we're not ready to be posted this evening, but they will be present on the agenda next month. And it'll be helpful to have them there then, because several of the items that we discussed, I'll be covering and report next month. So for this evening, for first read, we have policy 62, and just back up for a minute. Each of these policies came before the policy committee by way of our manual review. 6212, certification and qualifications. And for that policy, there were some just suggested minor wordsmithing revisions, nothing substantive there. 6551, Family and Medical Leave Act, same things, minor wordsmithing revisions. 7131 is education of students in temporary housing. There were also some minor wordsmithing suggestions in this policy, and we did note that the Steve Price from guidance is the district's McKinney-Vento liaison, and his role is to coordinate services to ensure that homeless children and youth enroll in school and have the opportunity to succeed. And he spoke at opening day sessions and clarified that role too. So that was great. Policy 7210 is, 7133, education of students in foster care. There were minor wordsmithing suggested revisions, and in this policy, we noted that the foster care liaison is Chris Mandela in the school district, and his role as foster care liaison is to act as the district's point of contact for students in foster care. And we also noted that that position needs to be appointed by resolution. And so you'll see actually Chris's, that appointment is on the agenda later this evening. Policy 7210 is student evaluation, promotion, and placement. And there was some minor wordsmithing suggestions in this policy as well, meant to centered on like improving tone and to reflect the district's commitment to partnership regarding student placements and support for non-English speaking families. There is one policy listed tonight that is being recommended to be retired, and that's 5240, school tax assessment and property tax exemption. And this is a policy that that we looked at in committee and moved it through to first. I think it just received an updated date of review earlier this year, but there was some language in it that was a little bit confusing, and we were actually taking another look at it and wondering if we should revise it. And while that was happening, Erie Wombosis issued a recommendation to delete this policy because it reflects outdated and incomplete information, and because it's unnecessary because districts must generally hold a public hearing and adopt a board resolution to grant a tax exemption. And so we discussed that in policy committee, and there were no other stated or identified reasons to maintain this policy, and the committee is supporting the recommendation by Erie One to retire the policy this evening. So in addition to that, we had discussions on 7 other policies, and I'm going to report out on those, I think, next month when you have the minutes that you'll be able to read and digest a bit, and it'll have a little more meaning, and many, if not all of those policies will be probably present for first read at that time. So oh, and we also talked about, we have 2 new policy referrals. I'll just mention them because these will probably be ongoing topics this year. Both of these policies came before, referrals came to us through superintendent referral. And one relates to a policy for online transactions for student extra classroom activity funds. the rationale for this referral is that electronic payments are becoming the main means for payment in current society. And in some cases are becoming difficult to avoid and they require parameters. Bonnie, business administrator, provided context for the referral discussion and proposed a development timeline for policy and procedures. And we also, as a group, we noted the protective benefits to the district of conducting electronic transactions in a centralized manner and within parameters. And so we had, developed a consensus to look forward to development of a policy on this topic. So more to come on that. And then also the topic of a policy on artificial intelligence. And we were running out of time in our meeting, but basically we recognize that Erie Wombosis has a sample policy on our AI that is out now, and that when we go to that the NISBA has a lot of information on AI policy guidance, and there's probably much that we can gain from our convention classes. So stay tuned on that as well. We'll be looking to developing a policy on AI over the course of the year. And that concludes my minutes or my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the shared decision-making plan.
Yes, thank you, Katie. This is just really an update that New York State requires school districts to have a shared decision-making plan at the district level. And as you've heard, both buildings also have shared decision-making committees. So if there's there is a plan that kind of governs the entire school district, that plan is required to be reviewed biannually. So our last plan, I say reviewed, and then also adopted at the board level. So the district, as we've done in the past, will be establishing a district committee, some stakeholders, and we will be reviewing that at the district level, and then we'll make recommendations and comments for perhaps revisions to the Board of Education, and the Board of Education will have an opportunity to also comment, and like we've done with certainly policy with electronic reviews and obviously discussion. So we will be embarking on that review. There is the attached in your executive content, and I'll reshare it as well, the current plan. It's also on our website, and we'll be embarking on that process. We intend to have that done perhaps for October or at least November board meeting.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just a question, are we providing feedback to you directly or to Katie, or how are we, what's our homework assignment?
So I would say your homework assignment now is just to review the existing plan. And then what we will share with you is a Google Doc that might have some commentary in
We
it.
can comment.
And then you can comment as well.
Any other questions? Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public comment. And I don't think we have any folks here. Okay. So we'll move right into the school business consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby approves the school business consent agenda items A through L. In summary, item A is a motion to approve the minutes from the August 6th board meeting. Item B is recommendations for the Committee on Special Education. Items C and D were referenced in the audit and finance minutes regarding the treasurer's report, extracurricular funds, and claims auditor's report. Item E is a motion to approve the 24 through 26 special education plan. Item F was also referenced in regards to architectural services for our capital outlay project this year. Item G is a motion to appoint Chris Mondella as the foster care liaison for the district. Item H is a motion authorizing a budget transfer as shared. Item I is a motion in regards to this This is in reference to the need to purchase music instruments while we await insurance, the insurance to finish their process. Item J is a motion to approve the fund balance or the restricted fund balance that was also shared tonight. Item K is a motion to approve the 24-25 professional learning plan, and item L is a motion to rescind or delete the policy that was shared as well.
Do we have a motion?
So. Second?
Do you have any questions? Any discussion? I just want to say, there's a lot of really meaty things in this consent agenda that represent a lot of work by a lot of people. So thank you. I know our consent agenda is for efficiency, but I don't want it to be lost of the amount of work that goes into that. So thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Education goals. And those are attached. That we had conversation last month at our board meeting about goals, and based on those notes, those compiled notes, the goals that are attached came from that. And all the board members had an opportunity to review those and comment. And if folks are comfortable with these goals and in agreement with these goals, we can adopt them this evening, unless anybody had any last minute thoughts, questions, concerns. Okay. Thank you for the great discussion at the September meeting about for these goals. And as John pointed out, one of them having to do with students, we're going to be getting that rolling right away. So do I have, oh no, wait, I have to read, hang on. I make a motion that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby approves the 2024-2025 Board of Election goal, Board of Education, sorry, Board of Education goals.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the faculty staff recognition. And the first one is faculty staff resignation.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby accepts the resignation of Jessica Cross from the position of speech language therapist effective August 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Next item is the faculty staff appointment consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff consent appointments, items A through H. In summary, items A, B, and C, Magdalena Margansky, Trudy Allen, and Gabriella Lancy to positions of part-time food service helpers. Item D is a motion to approve the appointment of Emily Poole as a provisional administrative assistant position at the elementary school. Item E is a motion to approve the appointment of Jacqueline Milhero as a long-term substitute in the teaching assistant position. Item F is a motion to approve the appointment of Stephanie Pollock as a long-term substitute speech language therapist. And item G is a motion to amend the curriculum list, extracurricular list, and salaries associated with those amendments. And item H is a motion to amend the 24-25 coaches and volunteer coaches list.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. And welcome to our new folks that are coming aboard. The next item on the agenda is Board of Education comments and discussion. Does anybody have any topics this evening in this category? Okay. No, okay, you're looking at me like you might, okay. We don't have anything. We'll move to our second public comment section, which I don't think we have any folks signed up. If anybody, I didn't say this in the first public comment session, if anybody is joining us remotely and you have a question or comment, please send that to lkgeorge.org and the board, did I say, no, BOE, sorry. BOE@lkgeorge.org. Thank you, John. And the board and superintendent will receive that email and we'll be able to get back to you. So the last item on the agenda is adjournment. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby adjourns the meeting September 10th, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries.